The night was cold. Not just cold, but freezing. The wind outside howled like a hungry beast, clawing at the small wooden cabin that stood alone in the endless white snow. The human, Marcus, pushed the heavy door open with his shoulder. His breath turned into fog in front of him as he stepped inside. He had spent the entire day outside hunting for scraps, checking his traps, making sure no one was following him. Life after the wars was never safe, especially for a human. He rubbed his frozen hands together and kicked the snow off his boots. His home was dark, only the faint red light of the heater glowing in the corner. Something felt wrong. He had lived here long enough to know when the air carried silence that did not belong to him. Marcus stopped moving. He listened. There, just for a second. A soft sound, a rustle like cloth sliding against wood. His eyes narrowed. He slowly reached for the weapon strapped to his back. The metal was cold in his hand, but his grip was steady. He had fought too, many battles, survived too many betrayals to be careless now. The cabin was small. One room, a corner for cooking, a corner for sleeping. His eyes scanned the shadows. At first nothing, but then he saw it. Something moved under his blanket. His blanket, the one he had left on the chair that morning. Marcus raised the weapon. His voice was low, sharp like a blade. "Come out, now." The blanket shifted. Slowly, very slowly, a figure rose. She was thin, trembling, her skin pale with blue veins glowing faintly beneath the surface. Not human. Her eyes reflected the dim light. Large, silver, almost too bright for the darkness around her. An alien. In his home. Marcus's jaw tightened. The wars had left him with memories of fire, destruction, and enemies that looked just like her. His finger rested against the trigger. "Move away from the blanket," he ordered. The alien woman raised her hands, shaking. Her voice broke as she spoke, soft but desperate. "Please, don't shoot. Please." He kept his aim steady. "Why are you here?" I was freezing outside. I couldn't take it anymore. Please, don't throw me back." Her teeth chattered as she spoke. "I only needed warmth." Marcus studied her carefully. Her clothes were torn, thin rags that offered no protection from the deadly cold outside. Her lips were almost blue. She looked weak, starving even. But he knew better than to trust appearances. Many humans had died because they believed weakness was real, only to be tricked. He stepped closer, his weapon never lowering. "You broke into my home." Her silver eyes filled with tears. She bowed her head and spoke quickly, words spilling out in panic. "I can help you. I can cook. I can clean. I can work for you. Anything. Just don't send me out again. I can even," her voice faltered, "I can bear children. Please, just don't let me die out there." Marcus froze. He wasn't sure if it was her words or the way she said them. No alien had ever begged him like this. No alien had ever sounded so afraid. His grip tightened on the weapon. Was this a trick, or was she truly desperate? The woman sank to her knees on the wooden floor, her hands pressed together in a gesture of begging. Her whole body shook, whether from the cold or fear, Marcus couldn't tell. "I escaped the soldiers. They hunt me. I have nowhere to go. Please, human, don't throw me out." The fire in the heater cracked, a sharp sound that echoed through the tense silence. Marcus's eyes stayed locked on her. His mind raced. If he let her stay, danger could follow. If she was lying, she could kill him in his sleep. But if he threw her out now, she would not survive the night. The snowstorm outside roared louder, as if nature itself was pressing the choice on him. Finally, he spoke. "You have 1 minute. Tell me the truth. Why did you come to me? Why risk stepping into a human's home when your kind hates us?" She lifted her head, tears streaking down her face. Her lips trembled, but she forced herself to answer. "Because humans are the only ones who still show mercy. I thought maybe you would." Marcus felt a chill run deeper than the cold air outside. Her words cut sharper than he expected. The silence stretched long. The storm outside screamed against the wooden walls. The heater glowed softly, fighting against the freezing night. Finally, Marcus lowered the weapon, but only slightly. "You, stay in that corner. Move and I shoot." The alien woman nodded quickly, clutching the blanket tight around her fragile body. Relief flooded her face, but fear remained in her eyes. Marcus turned away, but his thoughts refused to settle. Who was she really? A runaway? A spy? Or something far more dangerous? One thing was certain. This night was no longer his own. The freezing. Storm outside had brought more than cold into his home. It had brought a secret he could not yet understand. The storm outside raged without mercy. Snow slammed against the cabin walls, each gust of wind sounding like claws scratching to get in. Inside, the air was tense, heavy with silence. Marcus sat by the heater, his weapon resting across his knees. His eyes never left the alien crouched in the corner. She huddled in his blanket, shaking. Her silver eyes darted toward him, then away again. She looked like a child caught stealing bread, terrified, fragile. But Marcus had lived through too much war to be fooled by appearances. Many times before, weakness had been a mask. Finally, she whispered, her voice soft, cracking under fear. "Please, don't throw me out." Marcus said nothing. He watched her with the stillness of a hunter waiting for movement. His silence pressed down on her like weight. Her breathing quickened. She pressed her hands together, shaking so much her fingers clashed against each other. I can help you," she stammered. "I can cook, I can clean, I can make food, I can do anything. Just don't put me back into that storm." Her words tumbled out quickly, desperate. Marcus kept his face hard. "You broke into my home. That makes you a thief." Tears slid down her pale skin. "I didn't come to steal. I only wanted warmth. I thought maybe humans would have more kindness than my own people." Marcus's jaw tightened. He had heard too many lies from her kind. "Why risk it? Why walk into a human's home? You know what happened in the war. You know we don't trust your kind." She lowered her head, her silver hair falling over her face. Her voice was almost too low to hear. "Because I had nowhere else to go. They hunt me. My own kind. If they find me, they will kill me. Out there I freeze. In here, maybe I live. Maybe..." Her voice broke. "Maybe you let me stay." Marcus leaned forward, his weapon steady in his hands. "And what makes you think I won't kill you myself?" She lifted her face, eyes shining with tears. "Because if you wanted me dead, I would already be dead." The words hung heavy between them. The storm outside screamed, but the cabin was filled only with the sound of their breaths. Marcus hated to admit it. She was right. He could have shot her the moment he saw her under that blanket. Yet he didn't. Something in her had stopped him. Maybe the way she shook with fear. Maybe the strange honesty in her silver eyes. Or maybe, deep inside, Marcus was tired of killing. The alien woman crawled closer, slowly, carefully, as if afraid each move might trigger the weapon aimed at her. She stayed on her knees, lowering herself like a servant before a king. "I can give you more than work," she whispered. "I can give you a future. I can cook for you. I can keep this place clean. I can even bear children. Please don't send me away." Marcus stiffened. Her words were strange. Too strange. Why would she say something like that? Was it a trap? A tactic to make him hesitate? His eyes narrowed. "Why would you offer that to a human?" Her voice trembled, but she forced herself to answer. "Because I want to belong. And your people, they fight, they survive, they endure. My people, they break, they betray. I escaped them because I could not be like them anymore." Marcus's heart pounded against his ribs, though his face showed nothing. Was she truly different? Or was this another game played by the enemy? The heater crackled, sending a faint glow across her face. He saw the scars now, hidden beneath her, sleeves, thin lines across her arms, marks of chains, burns. These were not the scars of a warrior. These were the scars of a prisoner. For the first time, Marcus felt doubt. The alien lowered her forehead to the wooden floor. Her voice broke into a sob. Please, don't make me go back into the storm. Out there, I die. In here, I live. We'll do anything. Anything. Just don't throw me away. Marcus clenched his jaw. Every instinct screamed at him to stay hard, to trust no one, to remember the dead faces of his people. Yet something in her plea reached through the walls he had built. He stood, his weapon still in hand, and walked toward her. His boots creaked against the floor. She flinched at each step, curling smaller under the blanket, waiting for the end. Marcus stopped only a foot away. His shadow fell across her trembling form. You'll stay, he said at last, his voice low, cold. But one lie. Just one. And I put you out myself. The alien looked up, her eyes wide, her lips parting in shock. Then relief rushed across her face like water flooding a dry riverbed. She nodded again and again, tears falling freely. Yes, I understand. I won't lie. I swear. Marcus turned away, his weapon still in hand. He didn't trust her. Not yet. Maybe never. But for now. The storm outside was louder than his doubts. He sat back by the heater, his mind restless. The alien curled up in the corner again, clutching the blanket tight, as if it were the only shield she had left in the universe. Marcus stared into the red glow of the heater. He didn't know if he had just made the biggest mistake of his life, or the choice that would change everything. The storm outside screamed on, and inside, in the heart of his small cabin, an intruder's plea had planted the first seed of something Marcus did not want to name. The storm had not ended by morning. Snow buried the cabin up to the windows, and the wind still howled like a wounded animal across the empty land. Inside, Marcus woke with his weapon still close, his eyes immediately darting to the corner of the room. She was still there, the alien woman, wrapped tightly in his blanket, her thin frame curled like a child. Her breathing was slow, steady, but her face carried exhaustion even in sleep. For a long moment, Marcus studied her. The scars, the ragged clothes, the hollow cheeks, all spoke of suffering. But Marcus had learned one lesson above all. Pity could kill a man faster than any weapon. When the floor creaked under his step, her silver eyes snapped open. She sat up quickly, fear flashing across her face. Then she remembered where she was. She clutched the blanket to her chest and lowered her head. Good morning. Her voice was weak, careful, as though each word might shatter. Marcus gave no reply. He lit the small heater again, setting a pan over it. The smell of dried meat filled the cabin. He ate silently, every motion deliberate, his back never fully turned to her. Her stomach growled loudly. The sound broke the silence. Her cheeks flushed a faint blue, the alien version of a blush. She lowered her eyes, ashamed. Marcus slid half of his food onto a wooden plate and pushed it across the table with a rough gesture. Eat. She froze. Her silver eyes lifted to his, wide with disbelief. For me? Eat, he repeated, his voice hard. She scrambled forward, almost dropping the plate in her hurry. The first bite made her choke, but she didn't stop. She devoured it as if she hadn't eaten in weeks. Tears formed in her eyes as she chewed, falling onto the food but ignored. Marcus watched silently. Every desperate bite reminded him she was either exactly what she seemed, broken, starving, or she was playing the role perfectly. When she finished, she set the empty plate down gently, almost reverently, as though it were treasure. Thank you, she whispered. You saved me. Marcus said nothing. He leaned back, arms crossed, eyes sharp as knives. Why are you really here? You said your kind hunts you. Why? Her fingers twisted in the blanket. Her voice dropped. Thorsia, because I refused their orders. They wanted me to help capture humans. To lure them. I couldn't. I ran instead. They call me a traitor now." Marcus's jaw tightened. That explained her scars. That explained her desperation. But it also meant danger. If they were hunting her, they might come here. His home, his one place of safety, had become a target. As if sensing his thoughts, she looked up quickly. "I won't cause trouble. I'll stay quiet. I'll help. I can clean, cook, repair things, whatever you need." Her words tumbled out like stones, rolling downhill. She grabbed the edge of the blanket tighter. "Please, just let me stay hidden." Marcus rose, walking past her to check the windows. Snow pressed hard against the glass. Outside, the world was nothing but white death. "You'll work," he said finally. "You stay in that corner when I'm gone. You touch nothing without permission, understand?" Her head bobbed up and down quickly. "Yes, I understand." That day, she tried to prove herself. She picked up tools, though she didn't understand half of them. She clumsily swept the wooden floor with an old broom. She even tried to fix the broken latch on a chair, fumbling with her thin fingers until Marcus finally took it and did it himself in silence. Still, she kept moving, kept trying, as though every action was a desperate bargain for her life. But, at night, Marcus heard something. While he pretended to sleep, he heard her whispering. Soft, low words in a strange language, almost like prayer. The words carried sorrow, fear, and something else. Longing. Marcus opened his eyes slightly, watching her in the faint heater glow. She wasn't plotting or sneaking. She sat in the corner, head bowed, whispering to herself, her silver hair falling around her face. It should have eased his suspicion. But it didn't, because Marcus knew the most dangerous enemy was not always the one with a weapon. Sometimes it was the one who wormed their way into your trust. The next morning, he confronted her. "What did you whisper last night?" She stiffened, eyes wide, then her lips trembled. I was speaking to my mother. She died years ago. I speak to her when I'm afraid." Her voice cracked, and for once Marcus couldn't tell if it was lie or truth. He stared at her for a long moment, then turned away. He didn't answer. He didn't trust her. Not yet, but he didn't throw her out either. The uneasy hospitality continued. Each day she tried harder. Each night he listened to whispers in the dark. Suspicion and mercy warred inside him, and Marcus knew one thing for certain. This strange intruder was no simple burden. She was a storm of her own, and sooner or later she would change everything. The storm broke after 3 long days. The snow finally calmed, leaving the land silent and heavy under its white blanket. For Marcus, silence was never a comfort. Silence could hide danger. He stepped outside to check his traps. The cold air bit at his face, but the stillness made his skin prickle even more. Nothing moved. No birds, no beasts. Just white emptiness. Inside the cabin, the alien woman waited. She kept her promise. She cleaned, cooked what little she could, even repaired small cracks in the walls with scraps. She worked like every task decided her life. Maybe it did, but Marcus never stopped watching. He listened to her whispers at night. He studied her movements. He weighed every word she spoke. And still he could not decide. Was she truly desperate, or simply a better liar than most? That evening, while Marcus sharpened his knife by the heater, a low hum vibrated in the air. Faint, but unmistakable. His body stiffened. A patrol drone. The alien froze too. Her silver eyes went wide, reflecting the red heater glow like mirrors. She whispered one word, too soft for him to catch, but her fear was clear. Marcus stood quickly, grabbing his weapon. He moved to the window. A faint blue light cut across the snowy forest outside, sweeping slowly through the trees. Searching. The drone. He turned sharply. "Don't move." But she was already trembling, clutching the blanket as though it could shield her from steel and fire. Her breath came fast, too loud. She shook her head, whispering in panic. They're here. They'll find me. Quiet, Marcus hissed. He moved fast, pulling her toward the darkest corner of the cabin. Her body shook under his grip. Stay down. Don't make a sound. Her silver eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. The drone's hum grew louder. Through the frosted window, Marcus saw the beam of light sweep across the snow, slow and deliberate. His heart pounded. These machines weren't simple scouts. They were hunters. They carried weapons, trackers. If the drone found heat signatures inside the cabin, soldiers would follow. The woman covered her mouth with shaking hands, trying to stop her ragged breaths. Marcus crouched low, weapon aimed at the door. The light passed over the cabin once, twice. The wood walls creaked under the weight of silence. Then, the light paused. Marcus's chest tightened. The drone was hovering, its beam steady on the cabin. It had found something. The woman let out a faint whimper. Marcus snapped his head, toward her, his glare sharp as a blade. One sound and they were finished. She bit her lip hard, blood mixing with her tears, forcing herself silent. The drone's hum deepened. A sharp click echoed through the forest. Marcus knew that sound. It was scanning. Heat signatures. The heater. Cursing under his breath, Marcus grabbed a heavy cloth and threw it over the small fire. The glow vanished. The room plunged into near darkness. Only the sound of their breathing remained. Outside, the drone's beam flickered, uncertain. It hovered for a moment longer, then drifted slowly away, its hum fading into the white silence. Marcus stayed still, weapon aimed, breath locked in his chest. Minutes passed like hours. Only when the forest fell quiet again did he lower his gun. The alien collapsed against the wall, gasping in sobs she had fought to hold back. Her body shook violently, her face pale. They'll keep coming, she whispered. They never stop. Once they mark me, they chase forever. Marcus stared at her, his jaw tight. This was the truth he had been waiting for. If her people were truly hunting her, she wasn't just some wanderer. She was a target. And now, so was he. Why? His voice cut through her panic. Why are they after you? What did you do? Her silver eyes met his, wide and wet with tears. Because I refused. I refused to bring them humans. They wanted me to lure you, capture you. I couldn't. I ran. That's why they want me dead. Marcus searched her face. She wasn't lying. At least, he thought she wasn't. The fear in her voice, the scars on her body, the way she shook when the drone passed, none of that could be faked so well. Still, he kept his guard up. So they'll keep coming. And you think hiding here will save you? Her voice broke into a plea. No, hiding won't save me. Only you can. Please. I swear I'll do anything. Just don't send me out there. Her words dug into him like ice. Marcus turned away, gripping his weapon tight. His cabin had been his last safe place, and now it was burned with risk. Keeping her meant danger, but sending her out meant certain death. He paced across the cabin, his boots heavy on the wood. The storm outside had finally calmed, but inside, a different storm raged. This was the first test, and it had shown him two truths. She was hunted, and now so was he. Marcus looked back at her, trembling in the corner, clutching his blanket like a lifeline. Her silver eyes followed him with desperate hope, waiting for his judgment. He exhaled slowly. Fine, you stay. But if you bring death to my door again, his voice dropped into a growl, I'll end it myself. She nodded quickly, tears falling fast. I understand. I promise. I'll make it worth it. Marcus turned back to the dark window, scanning the snow where the drone's light had vanished. His grip tightened on the weapon. The first test was over, but Marcus knew this was only the beginning. The days that followed the drone's visit felt different. The snow still pressed against the cabin walls and the wind still howled across the frozen land. But inside, something had shifted. The alien, woman, still nameless in Marcus's mind, moved through the cabin with more purpose. She tried harder now, as if desperate to prove her worth after the danger she had brought to his door. She cooked small meals from the scraps he gave her, clumsy at first, but improving. She swept the floor, patched holes in the wall with rags, even tried to polish his tools, though she didn't know how they worked. Marcus never said thank you. He watched, always suspicious, always waiting for a mistake. But slowly, against his will, he noticed the silence was less heavy when she was busy. The cabin no longer felt so empty. One evening, while Marcus returned from checking his traps, he found her crouched by the heater with a pot in her hands. She looked up quickly, her silver eyes wide. "I tried cooking for you," she said softly. "It may not taste good, but I tried." Marcus set down his weapon and walked over. The smell rising from the pot was strange, sweet and sour mixed together. He took a cautious bite. It was awful. The taste hit like fire and smoke at once, almost making him choke. He coughed hard, forcing it down. The woman's face fell in horror. "It's bad, isn't it?" Marcus wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. For the first time in weeks, he almost smiled. "It's terrible." Her cheeks flushed blue, and then, to his surprise, she laughed. It was a small, broken laugh, but it was real. Marcus stared at her, caught off guard. That sound was something he hadn't heard in so long. He almost forgot what it felt like. The next day, she tried again. The food was still strange, but this time it was bearable. Marcus ate without comment, and the way her face lit up, he wondered if silence was better than praise. At night, when the storm rattled the walls, she sometimes spoke of her world. She told him about skies that shimmered green at dawn, and oceans that glowed with silver light. She told him about her people, how once they were builders, dreamers, before war twisted them into hunters. Her voice carried both pride and sorrow, as if she loved her world but hated what it had become. Marcus listened, never interrupting. He did not share his own memories. But sometimes, when she finished, he caught himself imagining those glowing oceans. One night, as she shifted her blanket, her sleeve slipped. For a moment, Marcus saw the scars again. Deep lines, circles burned into skin, marks of chains, of cruelty. He looked away quickly, but the image burned in his mind. She noticed. Her voice cracked. "They did that to me, my own people, when I refused to obey." Marcus didn't answer. His silence was the only shield he had left. But something inside him shifted just slightly. The bond grew in small ways. She swept snow from the doorway before he returned. She folded his blanket neatly after she used it. She even tried to mimic his habits, sharpening a stick like he sharpened his knife, cleaning her hands the way he cleaned his. It was clumsy, awkward, but it was effort. And it was strange how effort could feel heavier than words. One evening, after a long day, Marcus found her waiting with a small bowl of food, her hands trembling as she offered it. I made this only for you," she said. Her voice was soft, but there was pride in it. He took the bowl, ate quietly. The taste was still foreign, but edible. She watched him with wide eyes, holding her breath until he finished. Finally, he set the bowl down. "Not bad." The way she smiled, like the sun piercing through storm clouds, made him look away quickly. He didn't want her to see the way his lips almost curved, but the bond was not only food and chores. Danger still lurked. One night he woke to find her sitting by the heater, whispering again in her strange tongue. Her silver eyes were distant, filled with sorrow. He almost asked who she spoke to. Almost. But he stayed silent, listening only to the sound of her voice. It was not the language of an enemy. It was the voice of someone lost, someone searching for belonging. Marcus closed his eyes, and for the first time in years, sleep came without nightmares. Yet the human inside him never forgot. Bonds could be broken, trust could be betrayed, and the world outside still wanted them both dead. Still, as the days stretched on, Marcus knew something had changed. The alien woman was no longer just an intruder in his home. she was part of. And though he would never say it aloud, he knew the truth. The bond had begun. The bond had grown fragile but real. Marcus never admitted it aloud, but the alien woman's presence no longer felt like an intrusion. She cooked, cleaned, tried to learn his ways. She smiled sometimes, even laughed, though the sound was rare and brief. And Marcus found himself watching her with less suspicion and more curiosity. But peace never lasts. It was just past midnight when Marcus woke to a sound, a faint thump in the snow, too heavy to be wind, too sharp to be the creak of ice. He opened his eyes, every sense alert. The alien woman still slept, curled in her blanket by the heater. Her face was calm, unaware. Marcus rose silently, weapon in hand. He moved to the window. The night outside was dark, but the snow reflected enough light for him to see shadows. Figures, 3 of them, moving with discipline, slowly, carefully, closing in on the cabin. Soldiers. Marcus's pulse quickened, but his hands were steady. He had lived too long on the edge of death to panic now. He turned toward the woman. "Wake up," he whispered sharply. Her silver eyes opened, confused, at first, then widening as she sensed the danger. Her whole body went rigid. "They found me," she breathed, her voice shaking. Quiet. Marcus's tone was hard, controlled. He loaded his weapon with calm precision. "Stay low. Do not move unless I tell you." She nodded quickly, clutching the blanket around her as if it could protect her. Outside, the soldiers approached. Their armor glowed faintly with blue veins of energy, cutting through the snowy dark. Weapons in hand, their eyes scanned the cabin with ruthless focus. The first knock was not gentle. A heavy slam rattled the door. A voice followed, cold and sharp. "Open. Now." Marcus didn't move. His cabin had been his fortress for years, and he would not open it for enemies. The second knock came louder, then another voice. "We know she's inside. Give her up and we let you live." The woman gasped, covering her mouth with trembling hands. Tears filled her eyes. She looked at Marcus with raw fear. "Please, don't let them take me. They'll kill me. Worse." Marcus's jaw tightened. His weapon was already raised. His silence was his answer. The third knock wasn't a knock at all. It was an explosion. The door burst inward, wood splintering into shards. The soldiers stormed inside, their glowing armor filling the cabin with cold blue light. Marcus fired. First, the blast struck the leading soldier in the chest, sending him crashing against the wall. The other 2 raised their weapons, firing back. Sparks and heat tore through the room, scorching wood, filling the air with smoke. The woman screamed and dove to the floor. Marcus moved fast, using the table as cover. His mind was a machine, angles, timing, precision. He fired again, catching the second soldier in the shoulder. The alien grunted, dropping his weapon, but still staggered forward. The third soldier aimed for the woman. Marcus's heart lurched. Without thinking, he threw himself across the room, tackling her down just as the blast tore through the space she had been. Wood shattered, the heater toppled, flames licking across the floor. "Stay down," Marcus barked, pulling her behind. "Cover." Her eyes were wide with shock, but she grabbed a broken piece of wood, clutching it like a weapon. Her whole body shook, but she did not freeze. She moved closer to Marcus, shielding his back as he rose again, the cabin filled with smoke and fire. Marcus fired one last shot, hitting the third soldier clean through the chest. The body crashed into the snow outside, glowing armor fading to darkness. The silence after battle was deafening. Marcus stood, breathing hard, weapon still raised. The cabin was wrecked, door blown apart, walls burned, smoke rising. The woman crawled from behind. Cover, her hands trembling as she reached for him. You saved me." Her voice cracked with disbelief. Marcus looked at the bodies on the floor, then at her. His chest rose and fell heavily. "They'll come again. Stronger next time." Tears streamed down her face, but there was no fear in her eyes now. Only resolve. Then I'll fight with you, she whispered. I won't run, not anymore. Marcus stared at her, his weapon still smoking in his hands. For the first time, he believed her. She was no spy, no trick. She was hunted, broken, scarred, but willing to fight at his side. The fire crackled against the walls. Snow blew through the shattered doorway. The storm outside had returned, but now Marcus knew the greater storm was already inside his life. The enemy had come for her. Next time they would come for them both, and Marcus, against everything he once believed, realized something dangerous. He would not give her up. The battle had left the cabin scarred. The door hung broken on its hinges, smoke clung to the air, and the wooden walls carried black burns where the soldiers' fire had torn through. Snow drifted into the room, cold wind pushing through the shattered doorway. Marcus stood in the ruins, weapon still in hand, his chest heaving with each breath. 3 bodies lay in the snow outside, glowing armor slowly fading into silence. The storm carried their scent away, but Marcus knew others would come. Behind him, the alien woman knelt among the splintered wood. She clutched the blanket around, her trembling body, her silver eyes wide, shining with tears. Her lips moved, but no words came. Her voice was broken from crying and fear. Finally she spoke, her voice fragile. Please, don't throw me away. I'll do anything. I'll stay quiet, I'll fight, I'll serve. Just don't make me go, please. She fell to her knees, bowing her head to the floor. Her thin shoulders shook violently, her body still trembling from the chaos of battle. I can cook. I can clean. I can keep this place alive for you. I can even give you children. Please, Marcus, don't send me out to die. The cabin fell into silence, broken only by the storm howling through the broken door. Marcus stared at her, his jaw tight. Her words clawed at the walls inside him, the walls he had built to survive. He remembered the men who had trusted the wrong alien, the families betrayed, the cities burned. He remembered the graves, the ashes, the smell of blood in the dirt. But then he looked at her, truly looked at her, the scars on her arms, the bruises that never fully healed, the way she shook with fear but still clutched a broken piece of wood as a weapon during the fight. She wasn't a soldier, she wasn't a spy. She was someone who had chosen defiance, someone who had risked everything to refuse her people's orders. And now she had no one. Why me? Marcus's voice was low, heavy. Of all the humans you could find, why choose my door? Why beg me? She lifted her head slowly, tears sliding down her pale skin. Her silver eyes locked on his, steady despite the fear. Because you didn't kill me. When you should have, when you could have, you didn't. That means there's something in you my people have lost. Mercy. Strength. Hope. I want to stay near that, even if it costs my life. The words struck deeper than any weapon. Marcus turned away, pacing across the ruined floor. His mind was a storm. Let her stay and danger would follow. Soldiers, drones, endless battles. But send her away and she would die before the sun rose again. For years, Marcus had lived only for survival. Alone, silent, waiting for the end. But now he realized survival was no longer enough. He turned back to her. She was still kneeling, her hands pressed together, her entire body trembling with the weight of her plea. Marcus lowered his weapon slowly. He stepped closer. His boots crunched against the broken wood. She flinched, closing her eyes, waiting for rejection, or worse. Instead, Marcus knelt in front of her. His voice was steady, low, firm. You stay, but understand this. If you lie to me, if you bring danger to me on purpose, I will end it myself. Her silver eyes snapped open, filling with shock. Then with something else, relief so powerful it broke into sobs. She nodded again and again, tears spilling freely down. Her face. I swear on my life I'll never betray you. I'll stand by you. I'll fight beside you. I'll never leave. Marcus reached out, his rough hand brushing against her trembling fingers. She froze at the touch, staring at him in disbelief. Then stay, he said simply. But know this, war isn't over. Not for you, not for me. Her sobs broke into a shaky laugh, half joy, half sorrow. She gripped his hand as though it was the only solid thing in the universe. Outside, the storm raged on, covering the tracks of the soldiers who had fallen. But Marcus knew more would come. The enemy would not stop. They would hunt her until she was ash, and now, they would hunt him too. But for the first time in years, Marcus didn't face that truth alone. The cabin was no longer only his fortress. It was theirs. And as he looked into her silver eyes, burning, with fragile hope, Marcus knew he had made his choice. Not survival, not solitude, but something far more dangerous. A bond.